Hi and welcome, Martina here with another video for Crafty Meraki. After all the cards with the EAPs, I thought it's about time to get colourful and a little bit messy by myself again and grabbed some older Crafty Meraki products which are the Elegance flowers. I was really up for a very nice stenciled and die cut flower on a nice clean and simple background, and I thought that would be a nice idea to create a card with. So I took my misti and placed a piece of 6x6 cardstock into the corner of the misti and then aligned the first stencil of the Elegance flower in the same corner. I think the trick with stenciling in the misti is just amazing. You see me right now checking the numbers of the stencils because the stencils have numbers, so you can make sure you are using them in the correct lineup, which is very helpful if you want to have a nice flower, which I was really hoping for. My first color was a brighter pink, then I'm using a slightly stronger pink, and the last color for the flowers will be a darker magenta like color. I am using dye inks today because I wanted to have this clear, crisp, and not dusty or chalky finish that you might get if you're using the distress oxides, which can also be nice, but it's finally spring and getting summer here, so I was up for bright and colorful and not dusty. I am then changing the stencil again and I'm starting with the leaves. For the leaves, I'm using a brighter green and the darker green. The darker green will be applied through the second stencil and add the details to the leaves. I am keeping the stencil in place with my fingers. You could also use the magnets of the misti or washi tape, whatever you prefer. I just thought it's not, well, I didn't take so much care because I thought it's like, yeah, no rocket science today. I was just, yeah, like, having fun, creating a card and not doing the math today. As soon as I have all my dye inks on the cardstock, I can now align the Elegance stamp on the flower, and then I'm using a black ink on the stamp and using the misti as a stamping tool to apply the stamp in the just perfect setting. And you see, I've been using the stamp twice, which is one of the big gains. If you're using something like a misti tool, it's just no big deal if you have to go back and forth until you like the result. I am then using one of the amazing Crafty Meraki stencils for the background, and I didn't think much and just stenciled the whole background. It's an A2 size background. Again, regular cardstock, no specialty paper, and I'm just swiping or dragging that texture paste over the whole panel, and I'm making sure that I put the excess texture paste back into my jar, wiping the edges off so I have a nice and smooth finish on the edges, and setting it aside to dry. In the meantime, I am grabbing the Elegance die, which is a matching die, so you have the stencils, the stamp, the die, and there is also a hot foil plate, which is amazing, so you can mix things up very nicely. And I absolutely love how easy and fast you get such beautiful designs as this one. I am then taking my background and trying to get a first idea of what I could be doing with it, and will be using some double-sided adhesive tape to firstly glue the background onto a card base. This is a technique I do most of the times because I don't like to use liquid glue on my backgrounds, because it just, I don't know why. Maybe it's usage, maybe it's the way I craft. I think for me, double-sided adhesive tape just works best. For a second, I've been thinking of foam tapes to glue my flowers down, but then I thought, like, why adding more texture? It's such a nice and bold flower that I can just take another layer of double-sided adhesive tape, which helps with a bumpy background, as my stenciled background is, and then just cut the excess flowers off. And of course, using some of the leftover flowers to make a balancing corner on the top right corner, just using, again, double-sided adhesive tape and wiggling the flower slightly so I get a nice angle or a nice, well, corner of the flower for my balancing spot of the card. And this is already the main work of the card, because I mean, this already looks kind of lovely and the texture is showing up in the background. I have then been grabbing or browsing my stash and found the Handmade Love. These are foiled and die cut sentiments. And I found one that said, "Have a nice day." It's foiled in a nice gold. It's a Spellbinders gold foil. And I absolutely love the combination of the greens, the pinks, and the gold. For the sentiments, I've been using some foam adhesive tapes, and now I'm using from some of the Meraki Gold Opal gems. As you all know by now, I love gems. I love, well, at least a slight bit of dimension. And as always, I'm using the Burley Arts glue to make some small dots on my card design, and then just taking my pickup tool and placing the drops or the gems in place. And this is the card. I hope you like it as much as I do. Thank you so much for your time and watching. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I hope we see you soon. Bye.